How would you say, what is yoga and why should they be doing it?
Yoga is one of those confused words. It comes from two roots, yaj and yajya, Sanskrit roots. Sanskrit language is based on roots. And we put an identity stamp, a name on it, and that name goes in your passport. But am I a body? Am I the mind?
They are having the glimpse of little understanding about themselves. So in life's perspective, what is changing, what is not changing?
My enthusiasm will not force me to practice, I'll want to practice.
Yeah, that's a big one to attain.
We are slaves to the mind, and we have to be the masters of the mind.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Yes, namaste, namaste.
It's so nice to see you after Guru Purnima yesterday. So I'm going to have a little conversation with you about yoga philosophy. Because when I go in yoga teacher training and talk about yoga philosophy, I get so many questions. And I thought maybe we can gain deeper wisdom into yoga philosophy by talking to you. So the first question is, for any beginner who knows nothing about yoga philosophy, how would you say, what is yoga and why should they be doing it?
I normally ask a question, what has yoga to do with health and wellness? And that's a surprise question because most people think yoga is one of those confused words. So if you want to remove the confusion, you replace it by another kind of word. So instead of saying yoga, why don't we say union? That's what it means. It comes from two roots, yaj and yajya, Sanskrit roots. Sanskrit language is based on roots. And one means concentration, and the other one really is union, and both of them are the same because what is concentration? Is taking your attention and uniting it with the object of your attention. What is the purpose of it? Now you have to understand, why are we living? Is there any purpose at all? That means, is there any direction? And if so, what is it? Or is it just random? So materialists will say, well, it seems like random, with no purpose. That seems a bit dismal and negative. Most people feel they have a purpose. And then we have to go into a kind of analysis of who are we? What is it? So we all have a body and mind, and we combine that with a sense of, I am this, I am that. And we put an identity stamp, a name on it, and that name goes in your passport. But am I a body? Am I the mind? Careful analysis tells us, I cannot be anything that changes. And the ancient wise people, much wiser than me, the ancient riches, would have had one term for the whole of the universe, and that is Jagat. It means the thing that is always changing. But how do I know that something changes? Because there must be a reference point that doesn't change. How do I know a river flows? There must be a solid bank that's not changing. And I'm not changing. How do I know a train comes and goes? Because I'm standing on the platform, I'm not coming, I'm not going. So science over the last, let's say, 100 years and all, well, the beginning of the last century already, had some idea called relativity, means relativity of perception. Things look different depending on where you stand. So if we think that we are just this meaningless entity with no direction, then we have to ask, well, what's the point of living? And that leads to a kind of depressed and negative attitude. It means we're not going anywhere except for the graveyard. That's a bit depressing. So we have this thing, the whole of nature has it, which is a clinging to life. Even a baby has it. You make a jerking movement and the baby immediately goes like this, clenches its fist, because inherently it wants to live. It's the nature of nature itself. All beings in nature, all organic beings have this urge to survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So You want me to continue? No? Yeah.
Maybe another question,
Yeah.
because that's a very big answer, and maybe audience that I'm trying to reach to, they are beginners, or they are having the glimpse of little understanding about themselves. So, in that perspective, when you said something is changing and something is not changing, so the platform that is always there, it's not changing, trains are coming and going. So, in life's perspective, what is changing, what is not changing?
Well, if you look at it carefully, everything is changing. And the key to yoga in practice will be to analyze what is changing, what is not changing. You have a technical term for it, it's called viveka, discernment.
Yeah.
To decide what is the thing that is changing, what is not changing.
But how to develop viveka? Not everybody, like probably everybody has it, but not everybody is using it.
Yeah. So we have to resort to the experience of others. That experience is normally encapsulated in different traditions under the heading of scripture. So scripture tells us, well, this is the truth, and that's okay. This is the principle of it, but then there has to be a practice of it also.
Yeah.
We have to learn the principles of it, and then we have to catch the emotions up with practice. Both are called yoga. So is yoga a philosophy? Yes. What has it got to do with standing on your head and doing Shirshasana and all that, and Sarvangasana and so on and so forth? It's because if we want to investigate this question and develop this discernment, the equipment must be good.
So body is an equipment.
Body is an equipment.
Yeah.
Body, I rephrase it, body is an earth car.
Yes, yes,
If we take it like that, then we're driving the earth car. And if you have a car, you'll want to look after it. You won't put sugar into the tank, you put petrol.
But then people get too attached to it. And whether you look at Patanjali, who is giving us 2 tools and saying, Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. So there are 2 tools. One is Abhyasa, second one is Vairagya. And same thing Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So how to develop that Vairagya?
How do you develop anything? How do you develop tennis? How do you develop painting, the art of painting, or music, or any of these things? The only way is practice. But what's the basis of practice? There must be a resolve. It means the outcome has to be extremely important to you. So what is the aim of all these philosophies? It is a condition which we call freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from slavery. All our misery comes from it. All our misery comes from this attachment that you mentioned.
Yes.
And we take this world as a serious thing. There's another way of doing it. Supposing you were to take this world not as a struggle, not as a series of problems and difficulties, physical, psychological, and in many other ways, national, international. You say the world is a terrible place. What are you doing about it? Locally, you can do a lot about it. And the key to yoga philosophy is not only the physiology of it, but it is also the psychology of it, because our problem is the mind. We are slaves to the mind, and we have to be the masters of the mind. That requires discipline, it requires resolve, it requires discipline, it requires understanding the principles, rehearsing it over and over again, and then, more importantly, putting it into practice, which is a discipline of various kinds.
Yeah, that's a big one to attain. And then, according to you,
we don't attain it. Supposing I'm enthusiastic about football, we just had the World Cup. Supposing I'm enthusiastic about that, I want to be a star football player, then my enthusiasm will not force me to practice. I'll want to practice. I'll want to get better. So there has to be a strong desire for it. If that desire is not there, then we'll arrange ourselves in a limbo situation. Just go along with life. but problems will still come. We need a practical formula how to overcome these problems. Don't categorize them as problems in the first place. They are obstacles. Just as in sport there's an obstacle, and then we come to a philosophy where we say, is it not like a game? Is it not like a sport? Should we not have a sporting attitude, therefore? Supposing I say, yes, I can play tennis on one condition. This thing is in the way. It's called a net. I believe it's called a net. Can you take it away? Then I think I can do it. So if I have a sporting attitude, I'll say, please keep the net there. Don't lower it or high, put it at a standard height. And I will practice. I'll practice making sure the ball doesn't hit the net. Then I'll make sure the practice gives the ball into the right quarter. And then I'll make sure that the opposition pair gives me an awkward shot. And then I'll return it, and if I miss it, I'll say, do it again, and again, and again. So this Abhyasa Yoga, as it's called, it means repeated practice, bringing the mind back, bringing your attention back to the subject, and repeating it. No good practicing. Practice is not practice if it happens once. It has to be repeated, it has to be systematic, it has to be steady.
Because Patanjali says Dirgha Kala.
Yeah.
So it has to go on. Like he doesn't say how long. It just has to be long.
That's why we have time. Time is the opportunity for practice.
Yes.
And it comes not as a big lump. It comes out conveniently as seconds. 1 second, another second. A kind of unit which comes as a blank check. Nothing was in it. We put something in it. Make sure it's something useful. Now it's a game of psychology. So what that means is, if we take this world and have a complaining attitude toward it, or think that in a negative way about it, fear, depression, all of these things that beset us, anger, overreaction, disappointment, all of these things that we can notice. If we can notice it, it means it must be in a field that can be observed. That means it can be changed. How do we change it? We acknowledge that there's a reaction. We allow it to come. I call this the 4 R's. The first, you notice a reaction. Then you say, the next thing is, you are able to review it. Where is it coming from? The next thing you can say, okay, can we make sure that it is revalued? And then the next thing is we have now a different reaction and we put that in. Now that looks like a long process, but it's not. Because a second comes, 1, 2, 3, thoughts come like that. And so we give an example. Actually, it's an example that the famous yogi Swami Vivekananda gives. Supposing I'm fond of watches, I'm elaborating the story. And you'll see, those who know me, see I always carry, actually this is, I don't regard it as a watch. I regard it as an amulet. An amulet representing time, Kala, Kali, and so on. All right. So this is a reminder of my opportunity. All right. So somebody steals my watch. Now the error is, I said it's my watch, it belongs to me, never mind. Now it belongs to somebody else. Then I start a whole internal conversation. How dare they? And you see a wave of anger starting. You notice when it comes, and now you're not attached to this anger until it reaches a peak, and then you identify and say, I'm angry. You just identified with it. Of course it'll go. But this identification is this attachment, it's a problem. And if we don't correct it in situ, then we're left with a habit, an angry habit.
Yes. And habit creates...
So it's a bit like driving a car. You don't wait for a year to correct it. If it goes off to one way, automatically you learn to adjust it as you go.
Yeah.
In that same way, as time goes along and proceeds, you learn to make the correction there and then, so that the net positive balance in your subconscious bank account is a positive, is a plus. Now, we call this, we put all these, the whole universe, according to yoga philosophy, it also involves a cosmology, a psychology, everything. but it says there are only 3 ingredients in it. So we call these binding forces, ropes, if you will, that enslave us. Technically we call it gunas, you don't have to remember the term, but suffice to say these are things that mislead us and keep us bound.
Yes.
So 2 of these forces, they are characterized by attachment and self-interest. Self-interest is the reference point.
Is it in the tamas or rajas?
Tamas, rajas, sattva, yes.
Yeah.
So we have to see what is the category it's in. A thought come. In the example of the watch, what came? Well, it is clearly rajas. I'm angry. It started off was there's anger, then I am angry.
Identified with
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes. Okay. If we leave it there, we're in trouble because the next occasion we'll be angry and somebody will say, you know, so-and-so, that Swami, he's an angry person. So we have to, we have a free will. The free will is more like a free choice. We can choose that if we have so many seconds of negativity, that is, so many seconds that will give us a problem, anxiety, that will give us pain, then we have the choice that in the next few seconds we can put something that doesn't have this trap in it. It doesn't have this egoistic tendency in it. This is sattva, that is, implies purity, illumination, above all, no self-interest, no selfishness is involved.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the example, how that works. So, I'm angry. Somebody stole my watch. And you can make a whole internal, monologue about it. And the more monologue you make, the more the mounting anger is. So you have to notice how many seconds was wasted in this, because the only victim of this is your blood pressure. And so then what you do is, you say, there's a cuckoo clock, by the way, but that's okay.
It's saying that we should end the interview probably.
Okay. So briefly then, to end off, there has to be a sportsman-like technique whereby we put something better in. And in the example I've just given, it is a question of saying, okay, this is now clearly in the category of rajasic. And so it's like a gear. We can go from the lowest point of view, which we call tamas, inertia, darkness, despondency, and shift it up, a poor me attitude, shift it up to let's go and do something. That's better than doing nothing.
Yes.
But then we have to shift it up again to a position of purity, where we insert values of strength, truth, beauty, goodness, love, harmony, like that. At the end of the day, what's a watch? Maybe the person who robbed it deserves it more. It's only a thing. And by the way, if I get buried and I say, oh, before you bury me, please make sure I have my watch. No. So what is it? It's just metal and all that. I can get another one.
So practice Vairagya.
So it requires a reasoning, a rationalizing in, which now calms the emotions down a little bit. Next thing is revalue. Actually, at the end of the day, the thing that doesn't change is full of joy and bliss. It's full of the highest values you can think of. It's full of strength, perfection, goodness, love, harmony. And that applies whether it's a watch, whether it's a person, whether it's a scene, whatever it is.
I think that's a beautiful phrase to end with, that ultimately what matters is your blissful body, that is the most inner Anandamaya Kosha that Swamiji is talking about. We really appreciate your time.
But if you rehearse that until it becomes the habit, that's the important thing. You have to revise the habit in a joyful, loving, sporting way.
Yes. Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Good,
Namaste.
good. Okay.